Welcome back, everybody, to the Invitational. And we've got just one more for this portion. This is Run 1, Group 3, the last group to face the Undertaker. Undertaker is unchanged. The only difference might be that on one day it's hotter than another, as we are deep in the midst of a much ballyhooed heat wave, or as we like to call it, summer. This is the desert. People sometimes seem to forget that this is the desert. So, thankfully, the desert does bring us a supply of dirt and rocks. Here's the overview. If you're watching Run 3, if you're watching Group 3 specifically to see the rigs, I'm not going to explain it all again. We've already gone over the gate placements, and that some are more difficult than others. They kind of get more difficult as they go on. Gate 6 is pretty bad. Gate 5 is pretty bad. Anyhow, that's the non-summary of Undertaker, and now we're going to get on to the group. This is the members of Group 3. Here, of course, little Yella, there, closest to camera, followed by Misdirection, and closing out the day's group will be Zoidberg. If you've been to one of these before, that being a 6-gate sort of a thing, you know where everybody's got to go next. Yeah, that's right. There it is. There's the spinner. Untouched, unchanged, unfinished. It was made with plywood, RC car parts, and a marker. It's going to twirl around. It's going to make another couple slow revolutions, just because sometimes the spinner feels fickle. It's going to come to a stop there on Lil Yella, none other than, first out on the course today, Lil Yella. The spinner will now choose its second, victim, I guess. Whoever's going to run in the middle, we're going to find out who's going to run in the middle. And obviously that will determine also who runs last. Coming around one more time. Nice slow crawl. Oh, nice stop there. Running second, Zoidberg. So Misdirection will be running last today. They will be the last competitive run across the Undertaker. So let's get right down to it. Yella is going to head out onto the course. It's going to take a little pause here at start-finish. Head up towards 1. We'll see how the holds, JConcepts holds, do here in these particular conditions. Yella is historically a strong competitor. Took a pretty close cut line there to the driver's side marker there at 1. Coming up through 2, I'm now truly realizing that I'm going to have to get some sort of paint or dye for the markers, because when you buy tennis balls, they're that cheap with the express purpose of cutting them in half, and then you leave them out in the sun for several days while filming is going on. They're barely yellow. Some of them have almost reached white at this point. Yellow moving quietly and carefully. A little silent outrunner action here. Yella has a mountain of steer angle, so he didn't have to get anywhere near that edge. Drops in. He knows the drawback, the weakness of the JConcepts holds, which is they don't have a lot of lateral grip because the way the tread bars are. So he knows that he needs to approach things, should we say, a little more directly. So you got a little hung up there. Had to get the tires clear. It's just wasting no time heading straight on the bottom. Little dig turn. The hold a very good dig tire, though. Once again, it goes back to those bars. Little belly hang there. Not a problem. See how he does with 5. 5 and 6 have been, I would say, the biggest problems. That or people taking it too far to one side or the other into 3 and just falling off. So he's got it pretty high there. He's got a lot of tire out past the body. So he actually, I think, might have had the least amount of trouble getting through 5. Now we'll see. Here's the test. I think Yella is the first competitor out onto this obstacle to face this gate without portals. And you can see here, there's really a reason that a lot of people swear by a straight axle. He's not, his attitude isn't upset at all. He's actually up really high. My only worry here would be that he's so high, his tire's going to hit that top marker, but it looks like he's slid down. Front end's still really level. He's all the way through 6. He's going to come down and cross the start finish, which is more a thing of ceremony than anything official. And that completes Yella's run. Little jet engine whine as he goes by. Yella's run on Undertaker. And we'll move directly into number 2 on the day. Zoidberg, certainly a juxtaposition of strengths and weaknesses. Zoidberg has a big, beefy LCG. He's got a very low center of gravity for somebody with portals and tires that tall. He's got 2.2 Ruptures, which will grip, as I call them, omnidirectional grip. He's got 4-wheel steer. He's got dig. He has all of the things. He's also enormous. He's a little bit bigger than a short course truck. So fitting in between these gates, and I've mentioned previously, we were running Crawler Canyon Modified, which now the number escapes me. I want to say 14 inches. I think they're 14-inch gates. They might be 15. I would have to double check because I made up the names and I can't remember what order they go in. I can't remember if Modified is wider than Unlimited. Anyway, they're on 14 or 15-inch gates, which for a lot of folks is not a problem because most of the fleet is in or around a 10-inch wide wheel track, 9 to 10 inches. Some would be out like maybe 10 and a half, 10 and 3/4. But Zoidberg is significantly wider than that. Capra axles, big 2.2s. And you'll see there, in case you didn't see it, here's a little zoom here, just right there. We only noticed this in review. The judges saw that the arrow that's drawn on the top of the tennis ball rotated away from camera, meaning that Zoidberg had indeed struck the high gate, which the driver at the time was certain to point out that that was not their fault. They couldn't even see the marker because they can't stand between the camera and the marker. And this is true, but you know, sometimes this is the way things shake out. So Zoidberg is now going to come up and see how he does coming into 5. I think he won't have as much of a problem with 5 as some others, as his tires are so tall. I don't think that they can drop into that little crag right there. His rear tire is approaching the crag in the ravine. It's getting caught up a little there. But yeah, see, the tire is big enough. He actually had to do a little counter steer. It was pushing him towards the high side. He comes right down. He's down onto the side hill. Now he has 4-wheel steer to deal with this. We'll see how he does. He's actually come out of 5 at a really high angle. I think he's even higher than Yella was. He's having to steer down a little more. Little slide on the front tire there. The attitude changes just after the gate, and you have to be very careful if there's too much steer angle up towards the top of the hill. Oh, he's using a little 4-wheel steer to dip the rear end around. Very nicely done there. No problems at all for Zoidberg through there. Treating the... Oh! Very nice, soft Moonlander landing there. He he picked the right spot to roll. He was already clear of the gate. It's much gentler sloping out there. Nothing bad was going to happen. See, he barely fits between the start-finish gate. He's a big boy. Another little jet engine goes by. And that'll bring us to the last competitor to face Undertaker. This is the last competitive run in the series that we call Run 1. This is Misdirection pulling up. She's very quiet. Tekin HD 35 turn 540 in there. She is a unicorn for sure. She's the only buggy in the entire fleet. A little wide there, but using her low weight, she's got those heavy SSD clone wide wheels. She does not have portals, one of only 2 straight axled vehicles remaining in the competition. And she's one of the only remaining straight axled vehicles on a brushed power system. So far so good for Misdirection. It's a little wide left here. We've got the axles a little bit hung up. You can see it's hung right behind that rock. And I'm not even 100% sure what caught that marker on the way down, but something caught it. And she has not landed wheel side down. You'll see some shadows come in and out of frame. There's really nothing filming down there. There she is. And then she managed to get it scooted back around the other way and bounced off of a staircase. And when the front tire caught the stairs, she did manage to right herself. There was some editing taking place there because she spun around. She was breakdancing on effectively cobblestones for a little while. No dig here, so she's got to take a nice wide arc. She's going to come up to approach 5. Everybody seems to take that same spot across that little overhang section there, which everybody gets bellied up on. If they would just approach it a little further to the right. Okay, now she's entering the ravine. See, oh, those Scorpios just slipped right down in there. Okay, and the Scorpio, the shortest of the 3 tires of this group, so it is fully under that little crag, and she is trying to get it loose, but it's effectively stuck, and it has upside downed her. That was something. She hurricaned her way out of that and is still looking pretty good so far. Oh, Scorpio's just not catching grip there up through the ravine. This is that perfect storm of things you don't want to happen. Her wheelbase fits inside the ravine. She gets the marker now. She's powered out, but she's upside down, and we have gone to extreme speed here as she was upside down, doing everything in her power to turn back over for a considerable amount of time and could not do it. The ground just got softer and softer and softer. And this was truly a moment where any advantage of running third was erased. Because if she had run first, that ground still would have been wet, and she probably could have gotten enough traction to hook up to get herself flipped over. So it's an unfortunate break for Misdirection, but somebody has to have a rough day. You can see those Scorpios literally sliding. But, oh, come on. But again, straight axles, right through 6. Not a problem at all. I'd like to point out at this junction, I mean, that was the end of the run, so no spoilers. All 3 rigs in this group cleared gate 6. And I don't know if anybody prior to that had cleared gate 6. So there you have the runs. That brings us to an end of our experience, of our time at Undertaker and leaves us only with the scores. So there's our all too well-known scorecard. Lil Yella obviously used 0 reverses. He also coincidentally hit 0 gates. And while he was doing that, he did 0 rollovers, giving him a score of 0. Look at that. That's just zeros all the way across. Zoidberg also did not need to use a reverse. He has all the tools. He did just breeze a gate. He did not roll over. So that will finish out him here in Undertaker with 7 points. Misdirection had a little bit of a salad of a day. She did not need any reverses, but during her passage, she did strike 2 gates, and she did have 1 rollover, giving her a final score for the day of 24 points. And now you can see how the leaderboard shakes out after the conclusion of run 1 of the grand finals. 2 more runs to go, and the scores are cumulative. It's a pretty big gap now. Lil Yella is pretty far out in the lead, so that draws Undertaker to a close. We move on next to Leviathan in the Invitational. And if we had to call a winner on the day, it would obviously be Yella. You cannot do better than a 0. So the winner, air quotes around that, he didn't actually win anything. There's no cups, bowls, trophies, pins, medals. There's nothing that goes along with it. You just have the lowest score for the moment. So that ends run 1 of Undertaker. All 9 have gone. Next, all 9 will attack Leviathan. And then we'll move on to all 9 attacking Sultan's Curse. And when we're done, we'll have one standing high atop the rest. The winner. Perhaps the best of us. Proven by the Invitational.